Something took her.
Promise me you won't come out here looking. I don't know what that thing is.
The devil!
We are talking The Wendigo from director, co-writer, star Jake Robinson. And this is a low budget, around $5,000 found footage movie. So let's discuss. So Wendigo, in case you're unfamiliar, is kind of like the Bigfoot's lesser known cousin, I guess. It's not really the same sort of creature. It's kind of like carnivorous spirit, etc. And there has been a few films dedicated to Wendigo among other media as well. Now, this is a found footage movie, as mentioned, and the setup is that we have this kind of YouTuber who does kind of various kind of different dares and pranks. It's suspiciously a little bit like Deadstream, the setup, if you've ever seen that movie. Anyway, and he gets dared to go and spend the night in this kind of particular area where this apparent Wendigo is around, and of course he runs afoul of it. And a few days later, various kind of other YouTubers and apparent friends of his, try to kind of descend in the same area to kind of find out what happens, and to discover, of course, there is dark forces within these woods. What'll happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss. Let's talk about what works first of all. Now, as I've mentioned, this is a very low budget movie, around $5,000, so we have to keep certain expectations in check. I've mentioned Deadstream, that was not such a low budget movie as this one. I will say the intro is relatively strong in regards to this kind of original YouTuber called Logan. I wonder if that's a reference in anyone particular. And yeah, I think that sort of setup was, his character seemed a little bit more charismatic, shall we say, than the rest of the cast. So when that kind of 10-minute sequence at the beginning, even though I don't think the acting is brilliant, and it is kind of somewhat kind of trying to homage a Deadstream, you might say, I didn't mind the intro there. And it kind of ends in, it has a fairly kind of like frantic kind of ending with kind of people kind of possessed and stuff. So the ending is fairly kind of exciting to a degree. With kind of a reasonable amount that's kind of going on. That's about really, to be honest, all I can really say. The movie is relatively short. It's kind of just less than 70 minutes long, so it does have a short running time. But my God, I have to be honest with you, this movie dragged. Okay, so the 10 minutes is the first 10 minutes is okay. As I said, we introduced the character Logan, even though it is, somewhat derivative. I did find it in a pretty good intro. But the bulk of the running time is this kind of group of YouTubers arguing, and that's about it. I don't know what it is with found footage movies, especially kind of like amateur, low budget ones. I feel that filmmakers think what we want to see is people arguing for like nearly an hour. It's not. It isn't. It isn't. It's the kind of the most obvious way to go down. It's just not very good. Add to that, the acting isn't good. Now, found footage, you can do it on the cheap, but there are certain restrictions that it puts in place. You have to have kind of, that believability factor, that kind of immersion maybe, that you maybe don't get with a traditional kind of style filmed movie. But unfortunately, this isn't helped when you have poor acting, and the actors here I feel they range in a variety of problems, but ultimately they're not particularly strong. We have people acting like super hard and trying to kind of act all tough in front of the camera, and and then we have just poor acting, and all the time people are just consistently kind of arguing. I never really felt like we got to know the characters that have the kind of the bulk of the running time, and there's probably too many, if we're being honest. They have too many characters there for kind of a short run time, and with everyone just kind of arguing, you never really feel like you got to know anyone on an individual basis. So yeah, it's just lots of arguing, or it's lots of kind of like cameras just running around in the kind of like shaky cam in the dark and things like that. There's some kind of like sillier elements where we are meant to believe that it's noon, and yet it's getting dark, and everyone just shrugs it off, goes, oh, it must be the tree canopies. And it's just like, oh God, the stupidness is just kind of like, oh, just say it's night, just silly. Then we have kind of, I'm a bit, this next thing I'm a little bit more forgiving with, to be honest. I appreciate it's a low budget. But we have these kind of people that get sort of possessed by this kind of woodland spirit, this Wendigo, and they have like these digitally kind of like fuzzy kind of black eyes, if that makes sense. It looks like digital effects. I appreciate it's a low budget movie. I don't really knock points off it because of that. But I will point it out because some people will kind of would find it a little kind of disconcerting at times, and it's just kind of like we get lots of kind of characters kind of gurning in front of the camera. Oh look, we've got blood on our face. Oh, all kind of pull faces and kind of like, oh, we're possessed, and it's just like, oh my God. So it really feels like this movie has been made by an amateur crew who don't really know what they're doing, who don't really understand what the product is that they want to kind of put out, and just go for either trying to emulate previous works or trying to be kind of like just the most obvious things, as I say, like just lots of people arguing for an hour. Oh, it's so fun to watch. So this one was a little bit of a drag, and as I say, it's a relatively short film, less than kind of 70 minutes, and I was like, oh, please let it end, please let it end. It ends slightly stronger, we get a little bit more kind of action, but I don't think it was handled necessarily particularly well, and the intro I think was probably the strongest part of the movie, but overall it's a maybe it's a first start for these kind of filmmakers. We've all got to start somewhere, and the idea is to learn from this and kind of move forward. So maybe that's the first step in Mr. Robinson's film career. But as it stands, as a piece of entertainment, I can't give it any more than 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time.